chain, maybe you understand it better. Okay, a chain is a part of the energy program of an individual. Okay, it's the sequence of the program, and is very connected to the chromosome structures and the gene structures. It's a readout, basically. Years ago, I thought the neatest thing if we had like a little screen on our forehead, and when anything broke, it would just say, break, arm area, give you all the information, just, the human body doesn't do that. It doesn't speak English. We have to make it speak English. It speaks a whole other kind of language, in electrical terms. It puts out symptoms of pain and sensation, and we have to read them. And those pain and sensation symptoms are in like a positive, negative, binary pattern. And binary pattern basically means positive, that there's pressure there, negative, there's space there, there's something missing. So a lot of what the body does is works on the principle, when it's in trouble, that something is either there that shouldn't be there, or there's something that isn't there that should be there. That's how it panics. Like for instance, if you eat something and hydrochloric acid should be there, and it isn't there, then you get a deficiency signal, which is belching, pain, gas, stuff starts happening, see? And that's basically what we're reading out on the chain. Okay, now, to look at the chain, you got to understand a few items of energy. We were talking about it yesterday. A lot of people do not understand what electric is. They don't really understand what it is, what it means, or where it comes from, and what the terminology is all about. Okay? So, and you see, all you've got to do is go to one of these East-West journals or Whole Life Times or something. Everybody's talking about electromagnetic. Like they all know it like the back of their hands, and they don't even know what electric is. They've never seen it, and they can't define it, and they really don't. And if you can't define your own home term, then you're operating like a little bit off-center. There's no doubt about it. So what is electric? The best way to look at electric is something as a particle, like a piece. Also, a disconnection. A fragment. I can tell you we're poor here. We don't even have chalk. I can't even afford to buy a piece of chalk. Can I have a piece of chalk, please? Please have chalk. I should go stand on the street corner, right? Just with a cup.
I got the same problem throwing paper clips in my house.
Well, I've got them on the floor. That we got a lot of. We got so many of those, they throw them on the floor. There's one last thing I wanted to show you that's very important concerning this whole electric phenomenon. Obviously, we're talking about electric. If we're talking about putting electric, thanks a lot. Look at this. Electric is a brake. Brake phenomenon. You know how you make electric? This is how you make electric. And this is the first, I was telling the guys yesterday, this is how they made electric. They had a thing called amber, a crystal that you just find on a beach. Some gorilla found an amber, right? And the word electricitas is the Greek for amber. And what they did, they struck the amber, and a piece of the amber came off, a spark came off, and they called that electric. Look at the electric. So it's a break off, you see. And now, today, the way they make electric, store electric sparks, is they get two magnets, and they connect them, and then break the connection. Just keep breaking the connection. And what it does is it just chips off the It's like basically like they're whittling off the energy off of the magnet and storing it. That's all they do, really. It's pretty simple stuff. So if a person's got excess electric in their body, what do they have a lot of? They have a lot of breaks, right? Now, how can a human being have a break?
Nervous breakdown.
Bobby Waters. Tell me, give me
Nervous breakdown?
nervous breakdown. What is a nervous breakdown? What?
When parts of the circuitry become disconnected in a major way from other parts.
Why did they do that?
Because they have imbalances in the mass that creates the electricity.
Well, to be more practical, why did they have a nervous breakdown?
Too much stress.
Lost. Had a whole bunch of money, right? A big bill came in. You owe $90 million. They took his money. In other words, he had his money, they took it away from him, they broke a piece of his money off from him and took it away, and now he's got charge. Electric he calls charge. You follow? You had a real nice girlfriend once. Real cute. Did all kinds of neat things to your body, right? And then suddenly she broke off and went away. Now you have charge. You have electric, right? You have excess electric in your body. You follow us now? I mean, this is real important. This is the most important thing you can know in your whole life.
Right. Because electric, you mean, is electrons, it's a negative in the chain system, and the positive is the protons, the center of the atom. So when you take an electron away, you're left with this charge. Is that what you're saying?
Electric is what is electric? It's a particle, it's a piece, it's a disconnection, it's a fragment. Electric is part of what? Where did it come from?
Created by a break, right?
A break, you broke something, right? What did you break? Tell me something you broke. What is the thing that you...
Broke a relationship.
Yeah, but what is the thing you broke to make electric?
Yeah.
A magnet, right?
Yeah.
Of iron, of metal, a mass. Did you ever hear the term electromagnetic? You gotta get the picture of, here's the magnet, the piece, the thing, right? And here's all the little breaks around it. Right? Here's the atom, the nucleus, and here's the breaks. Now, name a thing that you know of that's an atom that's got a lot of breaks to it.
There's one atom?
Yeah. Don't you know an atom with a lot of breaks? What?
Lead.
Lead, uranium, all the heavy metals, right? Think about it a minute. A nut, a guy that's had a lot of breaks, a lot of traumas, criminal types have a lot of breaks. They got, and if you go to a jail and do a hair analysis on these people, they all have heavy metal, real bad.
Well, that's a real important thing to know. You just said. I mean, that's...
Real bad heavy metal. Name an atom that doesn't have too many breaks to it.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. It's a gas, right? And you're floating up. You feel nice and buoyant. Hardly any gravity. Gravity means grave, like upset. I'm upset. It's a grave situation. What are they talking about? There's a lot of breaks in it. A lot of misunderstandings. So you got an atom here with all these breaks surrounding it, and it's very heavy. Yeah, I just thought I'd... So, the magnet is together, right? Everything's together. Togetherness. I don't have a brake. Somebody says, somebody stole your watch. Brake. I had a watch on my hand. It was part of me, or on my wrist. I wear mine on my hand. I had a watch on my wrist. It was part of me. Somebody broke it off of me and took it away. Now I have charge. I have an upset. What causes the upset? A watch that's mine that's missing. How does it affect the body, though? How does the body transmit the loss of the watch? What would be the best way for it to do that? Well, it was a timekeeping piece, right? And so the guy used it to orientate himself to what time it was during the day. So would it be safe to say that now that the guy has the watch missing, and he's said, oh, the hell with it, right? But he still has the charge, would it be safe to say that down the line, a month or two later, this guy would be disoriented? Maybe even dizzy. So he shows up at the doctor's office and says, I don't understand it, doc. Jesus Crimines, I'm dizzy all the time. But he's really saying, somebody took my watch. You follow that? Do you know why he's saying that? Because in life, the only thing that creates charge, which creates symptoms, is electric. And the only way you can make electric is to do what?
Break, like being caused by a break or a loss.
I told you it was going to be a heavy seminar. This stuff's really going to give you the... I'm going to give you the meaty part of it so you can understand it better. So now, when you look at a chain that we've created, where would be most of the charge then?
Front.
The front, where it's broken, right? There's no numbers connected to the front or the back, right? That's why we always said the two ends are where all the action is, because that's where it's broken off or disconnected. Now you can make a break with anybody real easy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's very... Can anybody name a way, the easiest way to break somebody? Make them, make them a little crazy, a little nuts, make some symptoms.
Insult them.
That's a good way. Or rejection, or while they're talking, just interrupt them. Just break them like crazy. Talk over the top of them, ignore them. Hey, I got a really neat thing. Hey, hey George, how you doing? Did you ever get that feeling that somebody breaks you in communication? That you just go, symptoms start turning on and off. Okay? That's a very, that's something that could mount up into something bigger, but it doesn't gel or groove into the genetic makeup as heavily as other types of breaks that involve business and friends and relatives and person's survival, basically, I mean, you can't hurt somebody it's like you get a very, very rich person, okay, and they have lots of money. I mean, they got $1 million, $2 million, and they know they have $1 million. Of course, there are some rich people who don't know they're rich, Some people that are absolutely crazy and they're eccentric and they don't even know they have money. But let's say you get a guy who's got $10 million and he's absolutely rich, and he goes down to park his car, and the car attendant gets his car and runs into a wall. Is this guy going to react real heavily? He's probably got insurance like crazy, it's just a minor inconvenience, so he doesn't react that much. His symptoms are very light. He actually laughs. Oh, you dumb jerk, look what you did.
Guy left last night out here.
He did? Which guy?
It was a real bad accident out here.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
What happened?
Somebody came down from the hill, was halfway out on the street already, making the turn, and the other guy barreled over that hill coming up, and he smashed right, pieces flying all over the place.
Jeez.
He acted like he had a brake when he ran out of the car, right?
Well, yeah, probably because he didn't have insurance. Or he didn't have money or something like that. Now, if somebody demonstrates a brake, how do they do that? when you get a break, like when a person's broken, they have charge, what's one of the basic emotions that you run into?
Flying up the handle.
Anger, you know. A lot of anger. Rawr, you know, somebody's angry at you's got a break somewhere. Something's broken off somewhere, and they're not telling you about it. Because with the telling part of it does what? It discharges it, it fixes it. Because all this stuff, remember, this break and disconnection and loss and everything is an illusion. You have to give somebody the illusion that they have the loss. Like if I could convince somebody that he lost something that he didn't even ever own, he'd have a break. Even though he didn't even own it. It's real easy to do. Drugs can do that very easily. Yeah, like, oh, you just missed, oh, we had a heck of a big sale. We just had a big sale and you missed it. You know. You know those homeopathic bottles that you buy for $4? We had them for 10 cents. You could. You buy 100 and we give you 100 free too. Right? You could have bought the whole rack and the computer too for $3, but you missed it. Now it's 30,000. Oh my God! Why didn't you tell me? You know, that kind of thing. Like charge starts building up. That's if you need it. If you didn't need it, then it's no big deal. Just broke the chalk. Okay, and now the chalk has charge because it's been broken. Okay. Now, when you get somebody to come into your office and they're upset and they have a symptom, then what do they have? You know they have it already. If somebody comes in and says, I have a problem, a complaint, what do they have? They have charge. Where do they get it? I mean, how do you get this charge? Is something they ate wrong? Really? I mean, is it really something that they ate wrong, or is it something that they did wrong?
Confrontation. Well, it could be anything, couldn't it? I mean, anything that caused them a break.
Well, how do you get a break? I mean, how does somebody break off and cause charge?
It's accumulation.
Yeah, but where do you get it from? I mean, how do you make, what is the matrix that...
Losing or breaking something.
Yeah, but how do you know you lost something? I mean, how do you say, whoa, shit, I lost, you know. How do you know you lost?
Somebody rejects you and dumps you and stops you.
Yeah, but how do you even know that? How do you even know you've been dumped?
Feel pain.
What is the thing that...
Electric?
No, wait a second. You're getting out of bounds a little bit here, and that's a clue. Okay? You're getting out of bounds. How do you know that you had a break?
Somebody broke into their airspace, so to speak.
Yeah, but who designates the airspace?
Well, when they did,
Who makes up the rules?
You yourself.
Really? You made the rules up?
What?
I doubt it.
For your own...
Are you Moses?
No. For your own. For yourself, yeah. I mean, you know.
You made up your own rules for you.
Well, then you
Come on.
You're saying
No, I'm not contradicting.
Wait a minute.
You're getting excited. You're getting a break.
No, don't go ahead now. You're talking about that guy that had money that banked up his car. It didn't bother him. So he made the rule up. He said, it doesn't bother me.
He did?
Yes.
His father gave him the money.
His father gave him money, so it didn't matter. But his girlfriend ran away. Now that, you see,
Yeah, but why is that bad? I mean, where did basic rules come from?
his own needs.
Sense of values, maybe?
From your dignity.
The Flores guy.
Priorities?
Well, he said that. The person said that.
Yeah.
The person doesn't set these. Where does he get these from?
Heredity.
From heredity, from religion. They sit down with you and they go, wacko, wacko, wacko. Thou shalt not steal, you fool. Or, no? Oh.
You can all go to the...
You didn't go to school with me then.
Church and no,
You have to
come up with different values.
No,
You can come up with different values, like you said before. Or one guy be so concerned about money, another guy can not.
Okay, so we have different values, right? But if you steal from somebody, you're still going to go to jail. I don't care
The
what
guy has
happens.
no values for it.
Okay, so he doesn't have any values, but does he still get the charge? That's the point.
No, you don't get a charge because he doesn't care to go to jail.
He'll do it for kicks.
Look, this is the point. The point is that if you're going to make a computer program with somebody, you have to have boundaries, laws, rules, values, all of that stuff.
But the computer programs is in general, that's why I'm using infrared to determine individuality. The computer doesn't know anything. I don't care how good the program is. It's still a computer, and not everyone responds exactly to that program in the chain. But, I mean, the chain gives you a remedy, a group of remedies.
Yeah.
Now, I have people that I can prove that even though the remedies are outlined and recommended by the program, the person responds different, each one, because they are individual. Well, this is what I think the infrared comes in and shows how different we can do it rather than a doctor just prescribing a remedy.
Now, you're saying they respond different, right?
Yes?
Did they respond?
Yeah.
Okay. What was different and what was exactly the same response? The exact same response is the fact that there was still charge there. That's the point. The point is that you have charge in the system. As far as the response goes in different directions,
Okay.
they're still in the same ball game. It's sort of like saying, okay, I have a basketball and I'm going to dribble to the right. Another guy gets the basketball, he dribbles to the left because he's left-handed. But we're still in the same court.
Okay, I understand.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
The
But
point
value
is,
system, I mean, I'm trying to say, doesn't necessarily apply because, okay, I see what you're saying.
The point
value
is-
the court.
the court, yeah.
Okay.
You have the bounds, okay? In other words, a person has to have something.
Okay.
You take one person and their value system, their morals say that you shouldn't have sex before marriage, okay? And, well, that has been pounded into them with a yardstick. They've been programmed. The law says you should never do this. And the person says, well, why not? And they say, well, because it's bad. And the person says, well, what's bad? What does bad mean?
No, I think you're getting on thin ice when you get into that area, Joe. When you get into a spiritual area, I'm telling you right now.
We're not talking about spirits over here. We're talking about the basic.
No.
Look, I'm not going to argue with you,
Well,
okay?
I
If you don't want to listen to this seminar, fine, okay? But I'm going to tell you straight out that if you have a rule and it's broken, you're going to make charge. That's the way it is. It's that simple.
That's true.
It is true.
No, I'm not arguing that point.
That's why you got a 1-9 up front.
That's all right, but
All right, but I'm telling you, you can have a 1-9.
1-9 every time you say that. I hope I have 1-9s every time you
Do you know what a 1-9 is?
It doesn't matter. You see, the point is, I want to establish...
Well, wait, I'm asking you a question. Why doesn't it matter? I mean, why doesn't it matter?
Because, all right, I may be getting excited about something.
Well, you are. You're getting awful excited. I don't know why.
Awfully excited when you touch that kind of subject because I think that it's not necessary what you want to point out. We can do things without involving God or scriptural...
I had
and
not
can do
mentioned
that.
one word
I
about
just feel
God.
that way, so please, okay?
I didn't say that word. You're the one that mentioned God
Well-
right off the bat.
Well, you're talking about religion and there's only one...
I
thing
didn't say
about-
one thing about religion. I said morals. I said values.
Okay, we can call it we can put a different label on it, okay? It's still the same thing. Why do we need to talk about that?
Well, the reason why we need to talk about it is because these are the kind of things that come up.
Well,
I mean, if the person's having problems and they can't justify the problems and they have breaks in their viewpoint of how life is supposed to respond, then they're going to have charge. And it's a known fact. If a person lays a rule down and they break the rule, they're going to have charge. It's that simple.
I think the point maybe here is that the charge will still be there. They might break the rule, they may know they're doing something wrong, they may still go ahead and do it, but they're still going to get that charge, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I mean, whatever your religion happens to be is your game plan. Now, I mean, if somebody convinces you that these are the rules and you believe that you should abide by them and you violate the rule, then you get a charge. If somebody in another country, it's okay to have sex before marriage, and that's their religion, then they could have sex before marriage and not get any charge from it.
Yeah, it all depends on your values and morals.
Well, that's what we're saying. I mean, I don't see where this interferes with anybody's religious beliefs.
Well,
You shouldn't just get so touchy about it.
and you're very touchy when it comes to that.
Okay, well, don't get the wrong impression. I mean, I'm just sure there's a lot of religious people in here. Rudy is a reverend, and I'm sure that he would, if he thought I was blaspheming any deities,
Blaspheming. I didn't.
that he would be the first one to jump up. So, I mean,
But maybe he should have said something, okay?
okay, I think you're getting a little bit,
Well,
it's just a
I
little
think it's
extra.
touchy.
There's a little bit of charge there. And I think you better get something straightened out on that point. Now, what I'm straightening you out on is the fact that if you have a connection that you feel is rooted into your survival and you violate that connection, you're going to have a break. It's that simple, that's all. And it doesn't matter what pre-described situation you have, you know, you're still going to have the break. Now, let's say you go through a traffic light or something like that and you get away with it. There's no cops around. The law says you should stop at the traffic light, right? And you go right through the red light.
You still get a little charge, don't you?
You get some charge. That's
If you
all
do
there is
that like
to it.
100 times, you really start to get some charge.
And let me give you an example. Let's say you go through the red light, right? And you think you got away with it. And suddenly in the rearview mirror you see a flashing light and you hear a siren. Do you feel any extra sensations or symptoms or anything? It's got nothing to do with any religious beliefs. It's basic. A law has been posted. They said to you, and it's connected into your survival mechanism, that if you violate this law, we're going to do something to you. It's going to be a fine of $5 to $10 the first time, then $100 the second time. Then we're going to take your license away. Your insurance is going to go up from $300 a year to $10,000 a year. You're not going to be allowed to drive anymore. All this stuff is programmed in you by the powers that be. They tell you this is, as long as you stay within this bounds, you're connected and you're safe and you have no charge. The minute you break from outside, you get assigned the charge. That's how it works. Now, when you go to see the SAF programmer and he writes a chain on you, all of your charges come up, like when you go to J.C. Penney's and look on your credit report, or you do a TRW on somebody. All of the charges come up. They say, look, this is what the guy owes. He's got breaks all over the place. He's got a break here, a break there, he's got this and that, and that's how you read it. Now, when you look at a chain, where are the massier breaks, the things that have accumulated for a long time?
The back, the last number.
These? This side. This is the composite. This is the oldest break, but this is the composite of all of them here up front. So a person like this with a 1213 up front, this is how he pays for his violations of the laws. He's an insomniac, and he's impotent. That's what that's the bottom line of what he gets after all the years of all the breaks. His body has kept him up. His circuits are busy. And when you look up 1213 in the book, and on that big chart there, that wall chart, it says projects and plans left undone. It just tells you right out, this is what this guy is bought into. he's not finished a lot of projects. And so you say, well, what do you get a break for that for? That's nothing. Well, there's a law that says once you start some, you should finish it. That's just an unwritten law. Everybody knows that if you're doing a job or something like that, and you're cleaning the windows, that you should put the cleaning fluid away afterwards. So suppose this mother is just the type of person that she cleans her house, but she's sloppy and never finishes her cycles because of other problems she's had. She's absent-minded and leaves this cleaning fluid out. What's the penalty for that? Maybe a baby comes along and drinks the stuff and gets poisoned. You see how it affects survival somehow. Maybe if she leaves a rake in the middle of the lawn, somebody walks along and steps on it, the handle comes up, breaks the guy's nose, and now he sues her for $10,000. See, what happens is in this environment, when you break the laws assign the charges to you, and then they start to accumulate, because then they start to pull in more trouble. And that's what you call karma, and the people say, the point of the matter is, how do you control these breaks? Somebody's got to control it. They got to stay on top of them, because what happens is as they build up, simple emotional patterns start to interfere with the energy systems, and the person starts to manifest mass, which is like in the form of tumors and just things that will interrupt the system. So they have to be fixed. All of the breaks that come into the person's system have to be fixed. So this chart here is like incredibly invaluable. This is the only chart that has been constructed to show a break pattern in sequence so that you can fix one after another. Now, does anybody know how to fix a break? How do you fix a break? Bobby Waters.
Reestablish a connection.
Beautiful. Now, give me some examples. How do we reestablish a connection with someone? Let's say, let's get a good example. Let's say somebody has stolen a watch from another person. How would we fix that break?
Give it back, or
get the money, the equal value, the watch, How do you do a break, like suppose somebody got divorced or something, and the wife has run away with another guy?
That's right. I'm pointing at that.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Get the lady back and say, look, you got to fix this over here. This guy's going crazy. He wants to jump off a bridge. And that's a pretty heavy break, right? What about the breaks you can't do anything about? You can't, a watch. The guy stole a watch, he gives the watch back. Hey, I'm satisfied. Hey, thanks a lot, What about when the chicken runs off with, flies the coop? Right? And she won't come back. And the guy's left in the lurch there. He's at the wedding. You ever see that? The guy's waiting at the, Jesus. She's 2 hours late for the wedding, And all the people are there. That's a massive break, because all your relatives are watching, too. The relatives are saying, when you say you're going to get married, you should get married. Something's missing that should be there. The virgin, where's the virgin, And nobody shows up. So the guy's got this terrible embarrassment. It's all connected. Now he's got a massive break. There's no way you're going to patch something like that. How are you going to... You're going to have the lady write a I'm sorry card? Not only did he lose out on the wedding, but he lost out on a whole lifetime of having this wonderful woman who would have probably found some other guy and ran away with him sooner or later anyway. But the point is that now you have this break. How do you fix this stuff? Man, that's a heavy thing. You're talking about, there's no way. We just get another woman, right? But that's not the same one.
You have to change the values, then?
Well, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but let's take a look at something. Suppose the guy who had the watch stolen, it was an heirloom, and it was the father had given it, was handed down like for 5 generations. It had a special engraving on it and all this stuff, and a special fob, that had the mother's picture on and all this stuff, and it was stolen, and then in the course of trying to get it back, it was destroyed. Now what? Well, what are you going to do? Do you got a solution? Well, remember I said over here that this part here is an illusion. You have to give the person the illusion that they lost something for them to have a break, or there's no break. If the guy with $10 million gets the idea that no little son of a gun kid's going to smash my car up, it doesn't matter how much money he has, he could have a tremendous break. He could really be upset and go crazy. If he gives himself the illusion that, it really doesn't matter, he's got 25 other cars anyway, in fact he likes dented fenders, then nothing happens, you see? It's really the framework of the code of energy that exists in that person. So, and this is why I say I'm not arguing the point, but it's very important. If you want to get somebody better, and you really want to get them so that they actually finish this cycle, they have to have another viewpoint of existence. You can't get a person to say, look, I want Sadie Glutz for a wife, and that's all there is to it. I'll never marry another person, and I'll never be happy. Well, they pretty much sealed themselves in, didn't they? I mean, we've taken morals and values, these things here, and we've expanded them to write a new line into the moral and value that says, the only way I could ever be happy is to marry Sadie Glutz. And now she's dead. And you killed her. Right? And now what do we do?
In our Life Energy courses, you'll learn to decode the hidden messages of your symptoms, gain a deep understanding of holistic healing, and tap into your true potential. With SAF Online, you'll have access to cutting-edge tools and resources to guide your journey. Whether you're a healthcare professional, holistic healer, or someone seeking personal growth, SAF training is for you. Join our global community of seekers and transform your life. SAF Training, where the journey to yourself begins. Don't miss out. Enroll now and embark on a life-changing adventure.
We have to rewrite this script over here, or this guy's never going to change. It's impossible. In other words, he has to have another viewpoint. Another viewpoint has to be given to him, and the only way he can get that viewpoint is to repair the break somehow. Or show him that the break is repairable. The illusion is controllable. In other words, basically, he's got to rewrite the illusion. He's got to rewrite the hallucination. He's got to go back to the point where he ever got the idea that this was the woman of his dreams, right? But he's dead in the water. You might as well forget it. I don't care how many pills you stuff into him. How many live cell blood tests you give him. He had 100 holes in his fingers, the blood draining out. And, that's not going to work.
No, you're saying that the values, or the values in this case, or the morals, or whatever you want to call it, would have to be changed for him to really fix that break.
Well,
you can't fix it, right?
These are sub-values, and the greater values and morals that we give people, that are given to people through various agencies, are broad spectrum, and then people write over the top of them, and they use them to say, they basically use them as codes, and then write extra script into it that really shouldn't belong there because it's harmful. Stuff like saying, I can't live without so-and-so, or you hear songs all day long on the radio. I can't live without you, so I'm going to shoot myself. The guy figuring out how many different ways he can kill himself because he lost his baby, and all that. And then you've heard like Johnny Angel, It's like they set you up. Johnny Angel, how I love you. Oh, you got a great motorcycle, but you got run over by a train, and now I can't do anything else, It's like, and it's like they actually program break sequences into you so to evoke an emotional response. And then you buy the record. You keep playing it. I've seen women sit in front of record machines go, it's just a dish going around in a circle, But it's like they're programming, they're writing into you an idea. Because you have, it's like you have a computer in your mind that will accept something written in, you know. But the only way it goes in is if you use certain coded messages and sounds. That's why you have to use tune. You know, it works better. I mean, some people get programmed just from hearing things, but it's not as powerful as like putting it with music, because music, you can work a person's chains. They may have similar tones that they're connected to, and they say, boy, I love that song. They don't even know what the song's saying. They listen to the words, they hear all these words coming in that were like really doing some pretty crazy programming in their brain. Like, you get into like soap operas. Now that's a real, you know, I mean, you see that on television all day long. And people are writing computer script into their mind of how the sequence of things is supposed to happen, you know. And they start worrying about that stuff. It's crazy, you know, but that's the way it is. So, you have your gross morals and values, and then they start narrowing down into little areas where you get people who start to get burned out on like just what somebody looks like, the color of their hair, and you know, all tall people are bad, you know. Why is that? Well, because Snidely Whiplash was tall, you know, and he ties up people to tracks, you know, from watching cartoons. You know, kids get programmed with that kind of relationship. But fortunately, these chains have very broad and general categories that they deal with. And as I said, this one here is a 12, 13, 17, 18. Here, let me erase it. You have a blackboard monitor today, or? Okay, so these are the break points here. This is where the charge is.
Joe, she's got insomnia. In other words, she has insomnia.
Yeah. Yeah, this is insomnia. Now, you might get some people that have this up front and don't even have insomnia. So, what does that mean? That means that,
Syndrome.
well, basically what it means is that the person does not have the ability to even express their own symptom patterns. Like, you know, you get a person that has insomnia but sleeping like a rock. So it means that their mind and body are off shift. They're not even connected. So you get this kind of a person, run a chain on them, and they get insomnia and get mad and say, holy jeez, I'm taking a stupid program, now I can't sleep. But that's what they had. So all it did was just reconnect them to themselves, to take a look at what they really had, you know, so they can work this out, because this insomnia thing depends on an unfinished business that was done down here. There's like a heart pain in here, like, you know, emotional response. So when you see 410, a lot of time, that's a special break pattern that indicates that somebody broke away from this person. And there's charge here. Now, what is the charge? This is a very, very important thing. I mean, I know it's hard for you to understand a lot of stuff because it's coming at you so fast, and it's triggering some of your own bank mechanism, trying to figure out what all this stuff is. But what is the charge? Do you know what it is? Like, I mean, what is it? In other words, let's look at it this way. A person is sitting there with this other person. They're going out to the movies and they're having a lot of fun. Maybe they're living together or something, and suddenly there's a disconnection. And this person has charge in their body. What is it? What's the stuff in their body that's the electricity? What's it made out of?
I mean, chemical reaction?
Yeah, but what is it? I mean, how do they get there? I mean, what actually is that stuff? Is it the same stuff as the kind of charge you get from a stomach ache? It is?
No, release of adrenaline and stuff like that.
It's just positive ions.
Ions, right? But what are they? Ions of what? Metals of who?
The entire brain.
Of the brain. All right, you got it. Let me draw a picture for you. Okay? We got Fred and Mary. Right? Fred and Mary. Is an item. Did you ever hear him say that? Fred and Mary are an item. That means they're together, okay? Fred and Mary split up. There's Fred here. Fred has charge now. What's that stuff?
Mary.
Very good.
Is that what it is?
Unmarried.
See? That's why a psychic could come on and see. Sometimes a psychic will come up to the screen and say, "Who's Mary?"
That's the illusion that's missing.
Oh, it's an illusion, though. It's a picture. So she sat here, psychic do that? Who's Fred? Fred? How the hell do you know about Fred? Well, it's all over you, yeah. Well, you get real good at it. You look at people and see stuff stuck in their head, you know. I saw a Worcestershire sauce bottle on a guy's head once. Just stuck in his head, you know. Did you ever get hit in the head with a Worcestershire bottle? No! He said, I don't know nothing. See, I got these terrible headaches, though. Oh, he got hit in the head with a Worcestershire sauce bottle when he was 2 years old. His brother hit him. He forgot, though, you know. He's 35 now, you know. He doesn't know nothing. So I never got, but why don't you use this stuff? Does your father use it? I don't know, ask him. Here the guy's a Worcestershire freak, you know. He's got bottles all over the table all the time. Kid picks a bottle up and creams him, knocks him out. How is he supposed to know he got hit in the head with a Worcestershire bottle if he was knocked out? He didn't even feel it coming. So you ask him, hey, did you get hit in the head with, you know, it's like a dumb question. And that's what happens when you get into SF. It sounds like you're asking a lot of stupid questions all the time. And you're not. You're just looking at pictures, things. Well, there was something there that's not there now. So here's this projects and plans left undone. So you say to them, what projects and plans are you doing? Not which ones do you have undone, which ones are you doing? He says, well, yeah, I had this book, I'm writing a book. How long have you been writing a book? 30 years, you know. I can't seem to finish it. You know. Well, the book is still sitting there. You have the book and the unbook. You have the part of the book that isn't done yet. That's there. That's what's causing the charge. That's charge. Not the part he has. That's not charge. That's connected to him. I tell you, the reason why I could write so many books is because I had to work through all this stuff. I used to you go crazy. If you're writing a big book, like a real big book, a powerful book, and your attention is on the part of the book that isn't done, you go nuts. That's all there is to it. I used to have to sit there and think about the part I had. Well, I got all this part. Hey, this is really good. That was the only thing that would encourage me to finish the damn thing. See, people are always paying attention to the part they don't have. They get charged, and bingo, man. What happens when you get charged? Man, you get symptoms like crazy. This stuff's so powerful. When I was doing a Promethean, I had the attention on parts that weren't done. I actually got thrown against the wall a couple times by the current. It was that powerful that it just threw me up against the wall. So, you know, what you have to do is just get connected up to what... So, why does it seem that sometimes people can break up with other people and nothing happens to them? And sometimes they break up with other people and they go bonkers. Fred and Mary split up. Fred's got no charge. How come? Because Fred has James. And Carol. And Edna. So he doesn't feel it so bad. He says, oh, well, you know, yeah, she thought I liked her, but... That's why, you know, doing this kind of work, it's great to go down and work with some weights, you know, and just get into some weights and start push some weights out, just to get connected up again to some matter, you know, because you're spending time looking at charges, and that's the way it goes. So here's a guy with a 13, 17, 18, preceding this, insomnia, another break. This shows that he's had a time preceding the insomnia which causes basically impotence, inability to perform. You know, there was something obviously that he had a chance to do, but could not do. He could not get it done. So that's a normal pattern. You see a lot of times human beings have this kind of pattern.
How would you get a neurological breakdown?
Well, you can't. Neurological breakdowns are related to mass structures, you know, rather than energy structures, because the only way you can really break down an energy structure is to give the illusion or tell the controlling energies in the body that there is such a thing, and that it will do it. The only reason why people have nervous breakdowns is because the system is being overloaded with undone business. They just finished the business and connect up to something. I mean, just connecting up to this TV screen and saying, I own this. This is mine. Wow, that's really neat. Instead of looking at the part that he doesn't own and saying, well, I don't, oh yeah, I can't connect up to that.
So that impotence could be, does not necessarily mean a physical impotence. It could be impotence, it's more or less in that way that it comes, 12, 13, 13, 17, 18, more of a...
That's why that chart is so powerful, because that gives you all of your break patterns and the patterns that relate to other breaks and how they will, you know, can be rectified. The rectification of any break is to change the viewpoint of the individual. Basically, how he looks at this thing, to change the boundaries on it, to amend it, make an amendment, you know. I'll never love again. My God, that's pretty final, isn't it? Well, he's got to make an amendment, or put exceptions, at least. Except when I see this broad now. Wait a second. The heck with Frederica, she was good, but this one, this is ridiculous, you know. So you can actually make amendments to all laws, you know. But there's always that, you know, that initial, in other words, the person has to come to grips with why they even wrote that line. I'll never love again. Because Frederica split, you know, or whatever she did, or whatever she didn't do, you know. There's always a because part. And if that's a cause, the person has to gain control over that cause and say that those causes don't affect me. In other words, the person actually has to say that those causes do not affect me, or do not applicable. Like when you apply for your non-sectarian, non-profit organization status, and you write on your income tax report, you know, that these laws are not applicable to me. I'm religious, you know, I'm tax exempt. So you write NA, 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 all the way down. You may not get any charge at all. Then again, you may get some charge later. Depends on what kind of an IRS, you know, audit you're in. But that's mainly the thing. So in other words, now what causes the strength of these lines that are written? I'll never love again. What would cause the strength of that?
The values that one has set for himself.
Okay, but how does he set those values? What convinces him to write the line, and how do you know how strong that line is?
How far back it goes.
How far back it goes, but that is indicative of what, though?
how much charge?
Now what is charge? How many
Breaks.
times the breaks happen? Now the guy says, I'll never love again. When he's a kid, right? He's 13 years old, he gets jilted by this woman, and he says, I'll never love again. And he's 13 and a half, and another one comes along. You know, when by the time he hits 40, though, and he loses 100 of them, there's a lot more charge. And he really starts to enforce. He said, you know, I think I was right when I was 13. I should have stopped seeing women then, you know? Look at all the trouble it caused me. Look at all the money I lost. Got 6 wives, all his alimony, you know? And then he says, hey, that was stupid of me not to pay attention to that law I wrote back then. I should have listened to that law. Look at all the charge I got now. And then another one shows up at 50. But I have met people who have gone, you know, right across, you know, from like 17 years old when they got jilted all the way to the end with nobody. They said, that's it. It was bad enough, you know. But we find that those type of people have a genetic charge all the way back, like 100,000 years of their line getting jilted by this other type of creature. Now, obviously, the person who's winning on that line won't be convinced of that. They got too many good periods where they say, oh, wait a second, I had a lot of fun with these chickens. I don't want to give them up totally, you know. Maybe a brief hiatus, but, you know. Total withdrawal is out of the question. Ed.
I read a columnist one time that said that it should not make any one person you put high values on your whole meal, that you should seek other desserts.
It's a good way of putting it. What's your flavor, right?
Your charge will go down much too.
Yeah, well, you know, you disperse charge, and, you know, there is a lot of joy in putting your energy all into one person, but then it's dangerous, you know. You feel pretty crazy after a while, you know, because every little thing they do becomes significant, you know. Big fights about the trash, and, you know, it's kind of dumb, you know. Everything becomes like an issue now because they're the only one, you know. So sometimes it's workable. It depends on how you structure it, you know. A lot of times you don't have to make that the whole situation. You can spread your energy around other projects. You know, it don't have to be all on that particular line of thinking, you know. But what we're trying to get to, the important part of the discussion is the fact that where SAF is separated from all other programs, this is what we call the saphionic data that comes out of here, is extremely important for its sequence value. A, the idea of having insomnia backed up by impotence, backed up by intolerable stress, backed up by a loss. See, it shows you the accumulation of charge by the chain. Chain says, here's the accumulation of charge. So obviously, some of these chains that you write can give you a very good idea just how much charge is present. Right at this point, you have no way of measuring with this chain of how much the quantity is, but that's why we use instrumentation like infrared and things like that to get an idea of just how much deviation from the norm there is, because that's the indication of charge. Charge is differential. In other words, the way somebody gets charge is by becoming different. That's what an idiot is. An idiot is a person with a tremendous amount of charge. Idios means one and only. There's only one like it. A real dumb person's a one and only. Like, yeah. Boy, what an idiot. I've never seen anything like that before. Nobody makes those kind of mistakes. Nobody's that different. So that's your main way of telling. Now, how do you tell somebody's got a lot of charge? They look a whole lot different than somebody else. You know, a guy walks in and his face is all smashed out, you know, his nose is twisted up, and you say, my God, look at the charge on this guy. So how do you know he has charge? Well, he's had to have been in a tremendous accident to get that way. No, he was born like that. Well, then somebody else must have been in a tremendous accident, or somewhere down the line there was a lot of pressure put on this system to make him deviate from the norm that much, you see? And then contemporary tests like blood test, hair analysis, all those tests do the same exact thing. They promote charge by lines that are either way off to the high side or the toxic side and way off to the deficient side. And that's how they indicate charge. They say, hey, this person must have done something way out of the ordinary to create this idiopathic pattern. Idiot, you know. Wow, look at that. Look at that idiot, you know. Look at that one and only, you know. I've never seen another one like that. So, you know, obviously we all try to maintain some sort of boundary of operation. We have a head, arms, fingers, legs, toes, you know, 10 of them, 10 toes, 10 fingers. You know, people that have one big finger that's like out to here, you know, are very strange. You know, cyclops people, you get those kind of people with 6 noses, you know. They go into your freak shows that, you know, we're idios land, you know. Right? Wow, look at that. You know, that's really something. But when we look at that, one thing we understand, we don't put it in these terms, we understand that there's charge there. There's something definitely wrong. Now, what do you do with